Sergeant Flynn is the leader of men. Sergeant Flynn always shouts attention.
Attention!
Here comes Mr. Geyser. He's older and he's wiser, reading Bible verses every day. Jesus wept, Jesus wept, Jesus wept. Here comes Mr. Geyser. He's older and he's wiser, read the Bible with him today. Jesus wept, Jesus wept, Jesus wept.
Well, guys, I love y'all singing. Y'all have great voices, but do you know what time it is?
Yay!
Missionary Story.
Missionary story time. That's right. I'm Miss Shenary, and we're going to hop right into our missionary story today. So,
Yay!
I have a question for y'all.
Oh, yes.
Who in here, if you love it, you have to put your hand way up. Well, no. You puppets have trouble raising your hands. It's okay.
I can
you
do
just
it.
got to yell really excited.
I can
Okay,
do
you
it.
ready? Oh, there we go. Okay, y'all ready?
Yes.
Don't raise your hand yet. I haven't asked the question. Put your hand down. Wait for it.
I thought you said a question.
Who in here likes chocolate? Me, 100%. Love it, love it, love it. One of the best things. Y'all are thinking, what does a missionary story have to do with chocolate?
Yeah.
Trust me, this story does today.
Can I
Okay,
eat
so
the
listen
chocolate?
up. Can you eat chocolate? No, you can't eat chocolate. But
Can I
maybe
eat the chocolate from the story?
from
No.
the story, I don't think so. This story took place a long time ago, and the chocolate would probably taste bad by now. And you get messy. You know, your face would get all grody, and you don't have any napkins back there.
Rats.
So, yeah,
And
we'll
mice
have to
too.
wait.
I've got my shirt. Well, I mean, we have
wait,
toilet
and
paper,
maybe
I think.
later, if y'all behave really well, maybe later we'll get some chocolate.
All
But
right.
right now,
Yay!
we're going to learn
Oh,
our
come
lesson.
on. Okay, I'll go get it.
Put
Hold
your
on.
hat on. You're blinding me again. Okay, so let's hop into
Sorry,
our
it
story.
keeps flying
We've
off.
been, I know, it just goes.
Yeah,
goes
no matter
all
what I
over
do.
the place.
Mr. Geyser, you need to wear a hat.
We've been
What's
learning
the
about
matter?
Brother
Yes.
Andrew. Last week we learned about how he got saved, how the Lord changed his life, and then how he dedicated his life to serve the Lord as a missionary. And he promised to do whatever God wanted him to do, to go wherever God wanted him to go, which is a big promise because some of y'all have already forgotten that Brother Andrew has a bad leg. You forgot it, didn't you, Mr. Geyser?
Ah, my leg.
I didn't.
You forgot all about it. Y'all might remember now that he got injured when he was in the West Indies, and his leg was hurt, and he still had trouble walking on it. In fact, the pain would get so bad at times that he would literally bite the inside of his cheeks to make sure he didn't cry out in pain. He couldn't walk around with ease, and he would have to ride a bicycle anywhere he went. And he learned how to ride a bicycle by pushing with the good leg and then coasting with the bad leg. And he'd go back and forth like that. And that's how he got around. And even just walking from one room to the next caused him a lot of pain. So Andrew was in a lot of pain. So he made a big promise for someone who had trouble walking. But he knew God had a plan for him. Now, I haven't mentioned her a lot up to this point. I'm not even sure I've mentioned her once. But there was a young lady that Andrew was very interested in, and her name was Teal. He really liked her, and he wanted to marry her.
I thought
and
that was a color.
It is a color. Good job. See, you're paying attention.
Thank you.
Okay, it's
Here we
a
go,
color,
it's
but it
green.
was also her name.
No.
And she was just a very pretty young lady. She was a Christian. She loved the Lord. And she'd actually been very excited for Andrew as he began to get close to the Lord and when he first got saved and stuff. But after a little bit, Teal kind of started being like, maybe he's a little too religious for me. Maybe he's a little too excited for the Lord. And she'd say things like, well, Andrew, don't you think you should read other books besides just Christian books? And Andrew, don't you think you should go to the movies sometime instead of just to church services? And so there was kind of this little struggle there, and Andrew began to think that maybe if he told Teal he wanted to be a missionary, that she wouldn't like him anymore. So he started, trying to get her to decide she wanted to be a missionary too. So he kind of sneakily would talk about missionaries here and missionaries there and the ministry and what a blessing it would be and stuff like that. And Teal was kind of like, put the brakes on a little. But she was still very interested in Andrew, and they were still talking and courting. And so she told him that as long as he was willing to do things the right way, then she was open to the idea of being a missionary. And she told him that, first of all, he needed to find out what he needed to do to become a missionary. And she told him that, of course, what he had said before about being a missionary to your own local town, y'all might remember I mentioned that last week, that he should start there. So he decided, that's right, I'm going to be a missionary right here. Because if you can't be a missionary to the people in your neighborhood, how can you be a missionary to someone across the world?
Right.
And yeah, right? Your first thing is to tell the people around you. It's your job. The Bible says, go ye into all the world. And guess what? Your neighbor next door, they're part of all the world. So we should be telling them too. So Andrew decided he was going to start doing that. The other thing he needed to do was get a job because he just recently gotten released from the military completely with an honorable discharge because of his messed up leg.
Sounds a lot like my nightmares.
I wonder what
like your nightmares. You never want to be released from the military, do you, Sergeant? You want to be in the military forever. So
yes.
But Andrew was released from the military, and so he went and he started finding a job. He found a job at a chocolate factory. This is where the
chocolate.
Yeah. So
I
he
like
went
chocolate.
and he asked for a job, and when they saw his release forms from the military, they were like, "What's wrong with you?" And he was like, "Nothing's wrong with me. I can do anything anyone here can do. I'm fine." And the man who ran the chocolate factory, he was like, "You're kind of defensive, aren't you?" He's like, "But it's fine. I'll give you a job anyway." So he gave him a job, and Andrew immediately realized that this was not the mission field he was planning on. Because whenever he went into they took him, and his job was to push carts from one place, and he was take the chocolate boxes and deliver them to another place. Okay, that was his job. So he went and he'd go to the assembly line, pick up the chocolate boxes, and then take them to where they shipped them out, right? That was his job. But it was a lot of walking back and forth, and that was very painful for his leg. He learned after a while that he could put his leg up on the cart and kind of scoot along, but that came later. And but whenever he first went into the chocolate factory on the assembly line that he was supposed to work on and pick up the chocolate boxes, he was met by a lot of women. It was basically only women that worked in that factory at this area. And he was supposed to pick up the chocolate and take it out. And he was like, "Oh, that'll be fine. Well, he quickly learned that these women, they were not ladies at all. They had dirty mouths, things that would make a sailor blush, they would say. It was terrible. And, and he quickly learned that this was not what he had planned for, and he began to think, "Lord, how can I be a missionary to them? How can I help them?" But the Lord had a plan. Because as he was taking his chocolate, he was taking it from one place to the other, and he had to drop off a slip and pick up a new slip. It was the slip that told him what he was carrying, what to get, and where to put it and stuff. So he got the invoice, and as he picked it up from the desk, there was a young lady sitting behind the desk, and she had the most important job in the whole chocolate factory. And he took one look at her, and he immediately knew he recognized her, but he didn't know from where. And she just had the most beautiful smile, and she was really sweet and really nice. And all these other the other women, they were saying horrible things. And then there was this young girl, maybe 18, 19 years old, and she was just so sweet. And he thought, she doesn't belong here. This isn't a good idea. And he took the slip from her, and he introduced himself and all that, you know. But over the next few weeks, he began to really worry about her, and he's like, "No, I need to help this young lady. I need to get her out of this chocolate factory, because it's not good for her to be around all these women who act so badly." And so one day he began to tell her that she shouldn't be there, and she was way too young to be around all this vulgarness. And the girl told her, she said, "Well, you know what? I got a secret for you. You see, I'm here on a mission. I'm a missionary because I'm a Christian, and my goal is to reach these women for Christ." And Andrew said, "That's my goal too." So they became a team. What Andrew would do is he would go through the factory, and he would just listen. He'd listen to all the conversations, and when he heard that a woman was going through a hard time or having a struggle, he'd go back and talk to the young lady, and he would tell her what this struggle was, and she would approach the woman and invite the woman to come to church and things like that. And so they began to work together. And it was during this time that Andrew finally realized where he knew this young lady from. Who remembers the first church service that Andrew attended? Do you remember? You don't.
I thought he scooted out of all of them.
He attended a church service. Well, not when he was a little kid playing hooky, not those ones. This was after he was in the military and he was at the hospital, and a young lady came in and invited everyone to attend meeting. It was this young lady. And so Andrew realized that not only did he know her, but she was actually the reason why he had gotten saved, because it was from that tent meeting that he had begun to have a desire to find out more about the Lord, and it was from that that he ended up getting saved. So the Lord was using this in a big way, and we're going to tell you, he continued to work, and he continued to try to minister to these ladies, and he actually was able to lead a lot of the young ladies to the Lord.
Let's go.
Yeah!